Okay, the recording just started, so we are going to go ahead with our presentation. But let me share my screen first. Share screen, and let's get going. Okay, so welcome everyone. It's really a great pleasure to be with you again with Open Minds project. My name is Melik, and I think for those of you who already attended the previous presentation that we had about the career planning and strategies, you already know me. For those who still don't know me, I am based in Washington, D.C. I'm originally from Tunisia, and I'm currently working in the global operations department of one of the biggest nonprofit organization called CARE. We work on countries that are affected by war, so we can provide as much assistance as much as possible. As I said, I'm originally from Tunisia. I've been in the US for only 1 year. And I'm passionate about topics such as soft skills, professional developments, career plannings, etc., etc. So today presentation is kind of special for me, which is the integration into the global workforce. I know that most of us Tunisians, one of our biggest and wildest dreams is to actually get a job in at international level, right? Like in international organizations, international companies, big companies, like we all have big dreams that we build during our childhood and especially during universities when we start to put together our career plans. So today we are going to discuss these strategies related to integration into global workforce, and also the skills that we need to build as young professionals, but also as a young professional, but also as university students, because as I mentioned, that's when we start building our dreams, right? That's when we start thinking about what is going to be our professional moves after we finish universities. So let's get going. Let me run quickly through the agenda and what are the main highlights and the main topics that we are the subtopics that I am going to address. And please, if you just joined, just drop me a message. Let me know your name and where are you based exactly, and whether you are a student or a young professional, or also if you are like, an experienced professional with plus 5 years of experience. So in our agenda, we are going to talk about five main strategies, five main points when it comes to global integration into workforce. So the first point is going to be about setting clear goals. What do we want exactly? When do we want it? Why do we want it? And how we can do it. The second point is to do market research. This is a little bit tricky. I know that this is mostly scientific, right? I mean, some people, they would wonder, why would I do any research market when it comes to finding a job? Well, let me tell you that this is key element, and it's really, really important, especially in the 21st century, because everything, I mean, the world is going digital, and it's really important. And also, like, there is a lot of available data and information online that you can easily access to, and that will help you to plan your career and also plan your next professional move. The third point is to know your competition. This is really important, knowing your competition, and also to fill your skill set gap. And this is something that we will discuss later. I know that it may not be clear for some of the attendees and some of those who are watching this video right now. I'm just saying this because this might be posted on YouTube and on Facebook. Knowing your competition is basically, if we're talking about global market, we're talking also about tough competitions, because at local level, you are basically competing with other local profiles, not necessarily with international profiles. But when you are going global, you're basically competing at international level. And this is really important that you have to take into consideration when it comes to basically building your skills, knowing what skills that you have to do, the education that you need to do, and also the kind of experience that you need to engage with at local level before going global. Fourth point, which for me is considered one of the biggest assets when it comes to wanting and knowing what you are going to do next when it comes to global integration, is timing and network. Which are your best allies? Do you have the appropriate network that would provide you with opportunities to go global? And also, is it the best timing for you to go global? I know that a lot of people, they would rush and seize any global opportunity they would encounter. But this doesn't mean that it is exactly what you want. And some people, they end up being abroad, getting a job abroad, but it's not the best job. And that would cost them a lot when it comes to mental health, to personal relationships, family relationship, etc., which is also something that we are going to discuss later. The final thing is the set of skills that we need to build in order to land that international opportunity, and also the set of skills that we have to take into consideration and we have to build during our journey in order to maintain that global presence, right? Yeah, so this is basically these are basically the 5 points that we are going to address in our today's presentation. Okay, so let's dive into the first important point, which is setting clear goals: where, what, when, and how. What do you want exactly? When do you want it? And how are you going to do it? And also where you are going to do it exactly. And this is basically when it comes to discussing integration into the global workforce. Let me define quickly what I mean by the integration into the global workforce. Basically, as I mentioned, this is more for Tunisian, but also any other person that is watching us from developing countries. And I'm saying developing countries because that's the toughest. These are like the categories with the toughest chances to, or with the lowest chances to get an opportunity at international level, right? And this is something that we're struggling with a lot. When you are at the university level, you start to thinking about your professional moves, your professional career. You are setting some career goals, right? Some of you, they want to just get graduate and then go abroad to work, like either in France, Germany, US, Italy, Spain. And that part of the integration into global workforce. But there are a lot of things that needs to be taken into consideration, because it is not that easy, especially when it comes from developing countries. It requires a lot of work. It requires a lot of commitment. It requires a lot of networking, and it requires also a lot of luck, which is something that is well, based on my experience. So I'm saying this like on a basis of experience. So also the international or the global workforce integration comes when you have 3-4 years of expertise in your home country in a specific sector. May it be like environmental, electric engineer, nonprofit, private sector, banking, etc., and then you decide that you want to go abroad to work. And this is basically what it means, the global integration. And by integration, it means, how are we going to do that? How are we going to land that international opportunity? So yeah, and when I say set clear goals, it's basically you have to be clear on your goals, right? Like a lot of people, they think about, okay, I just want a job abroad and that's it, which is not enough. And based what I've seen is that the only people that actually get a job abroad are those people who are actually, and here I'm talking about people who just graduated from university, right? I'm not talking about people who actually studied abroad, because when you study abroad, you have more chances. So basically, in foreign countries and in developed countries, they would prefer someone who's graduated from their own university to integrate their labor force. And their labor workforce, sorry. And this is something that common that we see in Germany, we see in France, we see in Britain, we see like, in Scandinavian countries. All our friends who went abroad to study at universities at like after baccalaureate, they stayed there. This is like the basics of the basics. If you study in a certain country, that certain country that would not let you go. So that's why if you studied in Tunisian in Tunisian university, and you want to make an international career move out of the university, you have to have a clear goals and clear objectives in your mind. When you are planning your career, it is not enough to say that I want to work abroad. It needs to be clear in your mind when you're going to do it, how you're going to do it, what you're going to do exactly, and where. So when we say where, we're talking about targeting a specific industry, and obviously the industry is heavily related to what you studied in university, but also a specific country. So it will be best to have a clear idea in your mind where you want to go. Because if you, for instance, focus on Middle East, and this is something that will take me to the next slide, you have to focus all your market research, which we are going to discuss later, on the Middle East. How can I get to the Middle East? What is needed to get to the Middle East? Are there people that I know that got to the Middle East? How did they do it, right? So that's why it's really important to have a clear goal. What is the country that you want to go to? Where is the country where you want to work? And also, what is the industry that I want to engage with? And if it's possible, what is the position or what is the title? All this, it is better if we have it planned since the university days. It's really, really important, because that's when you need to start doing the heavy work of getting prepared, right? Like planning your career, building your skills, whether is it technical or hard skills, and also language skills. So this is the where. The what you want to do exactly. And this is what I just mentioned, what you want, like what's the job exactly? What is your career path, right? If you want to go to say work in I don't know, like South Africa, or if you want to go to work in Germany, okay, like you got a job, but you have like specific career path, what you're gonna do later, like you get a job, that's great, that's fantastic, but what's your long-term plans? Are you planning to just stay in Germany, or are you planning to make another career move? What's your short term? Are you going to just get one job, and then once you are in Germany having that job, you will quickly shift to another job, shift to another sector? Because sometimes when you're studying in specific sectors, say like here, you're studying environment, right? And then you go to Germany, you get a job. Then in Germany, there is like, you have more luck to work in other industry, like, motorcycle vehicles, for instance, where, the pay is better, the chances to get jobs is better. Are you going to be like in the environment for just a few months and then quit and go to another industry? So it needs to be clear for you. And again, I will let you know later why exactly you have to have clear goals. The best timing for this is the best timing straight after you finish university, or is the best timing is when you have 1, 2, or 3 years of expertise in your industry within your home country, because that makes a lot of difference. Because when you are a fresh graduate, as I said previously, it is tougher when you come from developing countries to get an international job, because when you are a fresh graduate, the assessment of the CV that they will do is based on your educational background, on your university, right? And when it comes to competition, which is again something that we are going to discuss later, your competition, there might be people who graduated from prestigious universities. So it is obvious that they might go with someone with the prestigious university rather than someone who comes from a lower ranked university, which I'm not only talking about like Tunisia, right? Like even two people that are from France, someone who graduated from the Sorbonne and someone who graduated from, I don't know, like Nice University or Toulon or Lyon University. Obviously, they might take into consideration the CV of this who graduated from Sorbonne. So it's something really normal. So that's why I'm saying about the timing. But also, regardless, there are some companies and some industry, for example, IT industry, they might just consider your CV, which is not a problem, because Tunisia, it's a reputable country, sorry, when it comes to IT. But is this your plan, or is your plan to just work 1, 2, 3 years in your industry in Tunisia and later you start to target and attack position and jobs that are based abroad. This is like something important that we have to take into consideration. And then how it's really important. How are you gonna do this? Are you gonna do this through applying for jobs right away, or are you going to apply for a master degree or a PhD and then you go there and then you get that job? Or are you going to do it through an exchange program? Because I know that there is a lot of embassies that they offer exchange programs um, to like Tunisian students, or even like professionals, right? You have some opportunities of fellowship with the U.S. Embassy. You have some opportunities of professional development with DID, which is an affiliate from the Germany Embassy, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really important to have it clear in your mind. Okay, like when I finish university, I'm gonna, for instance, and this is an example, like work for 1-2 years and then apply for this exchange program. Once you apply, you go abroad, you have more opportunity, more exposure to the market, and it makes your life easier. Or you are going to finish university and then you say that, okay, I'm going to apply for a master's degree abroad. Or you are going to just apply for a job in the company portal. So you have to have it clear what you want to do, like in terms of what timing, when, like where are you going to do it, how are you going to do it, and also what you want to do exactly. This is really important. Now, doing your market research, there is the bad, there is the good, and there is the ugly. What I mean by doing your market research, it is basically you have to understand the industry that you're working on. You have to know that the industry that you're working on, or the industry that you have interest on to join afterward, it is not just what you studied in university. It is way more than that. It is just because like things are changing, moving so fast, and you can ask everyone who's, for example, working on the IT, but also like people who are working in mechanical engineering, supply chain, like development, everything, like even humanitarian nonprofit. It is changing so fast. So this is really something that you have to take into consideration, and that's why I'm saying you have to do your market research. Not only this, but you have to do an update of your market research all the time. What are the trends? What are the new technology that are used to the industry? Because knowing the trends, knowing the news, knowing the new softwares, the new technology, et cetera, will help you have an idea about the skills and the learning program that you are going to have, so you can arm your CV for you to be ready. Now, the other thing is, when doing your market research, it is really important to do a research about the challenges that you might encounter. When you come from a developing country, there is a lot of challenges that you might encounter in the process to get a job abroad. One of the challenges is most of the countries around the globe right now, they do not sponsor visa. So this is one of the challenges. Not being able to get like professional visa, it's one of the challenges. Not being able to be shortlisted and selected because of your nationality. And basically, when I say nationality, it's basically because of the visa. So there are some companies that if you apply and you say that you are from Tunisia or from Algeria or from Libya, they would probably not call you for an interview because they know that if they select you, they need to sponsor your visa. But sponsoring your visa, it comes with heavy work. So this is really important. So that's why when I say doing your market research, you have to know, and like going back to the first slide, when you know what industry you wanted to do, and where exactly, and what company, if it's possible, you can do a market research about whether or not this company actually they sponsor visa to their employees. Simply, you can just go to LinkedIn and filter the company and filter the location where they are, where do you want to go, and you can see like the diversity of the profiles. If it is super diverse, it means it's obviously they sponsor your visa. If it is not super diverse, it means probably there is a trick about sponsoring the visa. So this is something really important that we need to include in our market research. Now, the third thing is the success stories. What I mean by the success stories, I mean success stories with a similar profile like you. Similar profiles like you is people who studied in the same sector that you study, people who comes from the same country. And you have to see what they did exactly so they landed an opportunity abroad? Did they finish university in Tunisia and then applied for a master, and then just they integrated in the global force? Or did they finish university, worked for a couple of years, and then they they integrated themselves in global force? If they did so, what company they worked for or what organization they worked for? All of this makes difference. Why? Because the easier way to get to where we want, you just see previous success stories or previous experience or previous stories with people with a similar ambition. I mean, I know that there is this thing that says, oh, listen, do not follow anyone, follow your dreams. Yes, follow your dreams, but it doesn't harm if you follow other people's steps. If the other people's steps will take you where you are, where you want to be, that's amazing. Just follow the steps. Once you are there, you can take the opposite way and follow your dreams. So this is really important, but you have to be careful because there is a lot of success stories that have a lot of things behind it. There are some people, for instance, well, I know specific, I mean, actually, is a friend of mine who finished university, worked in Tunisia, and then out of nowhere, we found out that he's now working in Britain. We were excited because we thought that this is really going to open doors like to a lot of our colleagues or a lot of colleagues that they worked with him. But there is one thing that nobody knew about it, is that he actually has the British passport. He's like half British, half Tunisian. So he had the British passport, that he has the working permit. So obviously it's easy for him to just land a job abroad. So it's really important. So when I talk about success stories, yes, follow the success story, hear from them, but also dig deeper into details, because sometimes they might have like an advantage that we cannot afford, that we cannot have, that helped them to be there, right? And when I say like the advantage, it might be, I don't know, like their father have a company abroad, or they have like a, like foreigner citizenship, or something like that. These are advantages. But for example, if someone has like a good network, or he has a boss who got him an opportunity abroad, or I don't know, he did it through connecting with someone on LinkedIn, this is not advantage. This is like a smart approach and a smart strategy to get a job abroad. So these are the true success stories. So careful between a true success story and a normal story. So it's pretty basics. Okay, so the other thing is you have to know your competition. You have to study your competition. You have to know what they have for breakfast, what they have for dinner, what's the size of their shoes, everything. You have to study your competition. And also you have to fill your skill gap. Well, when I say study your competition, as I mentioned previously, the people that you will be competing with at international level, they are called the international competition. And when we talk about international competition, sorry, I'm talking about people that graduated from the biggest universities in the world. I remember, so I studied geoscience, right? Like oil geoscience. And I remember that I had a friend of mine that I just connected with in one of the conferences. He studied in Texas University. I was a student at Tunisian University, Manar University, which is I'm really proud of, right? And I applied for Shell, which is one of the biggest companies that it was my dream to actually work for, either Schlumberger or Shell. These are one of the biggest in the oil sectors. And it was also the same. I mean, everyone who's working or studying in the oil sector, geoscience, petroleum engineering, they have dreams to work Shell, like Schlumberger, British company, etc., British Petroleum, etc., etc. When I applied for the position, I wasn't even called for the online assessment, which was different for him. For him, he just applied and he got to the online assessment. And his CV and my CV, they're basically the same. We studied the same thing. We had basically similar internships. We attended the same conferences. well, mostly the same conference. So I do not see a reason why I do not get into the assessment. How can I say, like the assessment phase? Because the assessment phase is pretty basic. So they send you like few questions, cognitive test, you take it, and that's it. Boom. Him, he got it and he passed, and now he got the job, which is I'm really happy for him, but I didn't. So what I mean is that you have to know what's like the international, what are your competitions, what are their skills, what are the chances to compete with them, right? And we have to be realistic. Listen, I know that we always say that you have to believe yourself. I know that you have to work hard, you have to compete hard, you have to focus on yourself, but sometimes it's really important to study the competition, because when you study the competition, you know exactly what you are going to, where you are going to, right? Like what you are going to face, what are the challenges, etc., etc. But this is not it, because there is a good side and the bad side out of it, right? The good side and the good news is that once you have a specific number of working experience and professional experience, it is no longer about the universities or the education that we had. So basically, when you get into 3 years of experience, working experience, and most importantly, 5 years of work experience, the companies that you apply for, they no longer look at your education, they work on your professional experience, what you did exactly, what project you managed, what project you worked on, what goals you achieved, etc., etc. And that's where they start to comparing with other candidates that they might come from prestigious university. And this is really important for the people who have ambitions, which I really encourage, that once you graduate from university in Tunisia, you seek to find a job in Tunisia for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, or even 5 years. You have to build a solid professional experience. You should not give up. Sometimes you graduate from the university, you just stick with the plan that, oh, I want to go abroad, but it's fine. Think about going abroad, work hard for it, plan it, look around how you can get like an opportunity abroad, but at the same time, get a job, work hard, build your skills, build your CV, because that is going to help. And you can ask every single one who actually now in Canada, that's exactly what they did. They graduated, they worked hard, they built some professional expertise, and then when they applied, they accepted them. And one of the common criteria that they accept people for is the professional expertise. And this is just one example. So remember this. I know that when you both you and another, you and your competition, let me say it's competition, you and your competition graduate. You graduate from like truth be told, Tunisian university, they are ranked like 900 or something, right? And your competition, they are graduated from like the top 10 universities. Remember this. After 5 years of working experience for both of you, they no longer look at your education no more. So they start looking at your professional experience and what you achieved exactly. And that's when you guys become equal. And that's when your skills, your ability to brand and sell yourselves come to play. And that's when and that's what takes me to the second point, which um not everyone knows how to sell themselves. You have to sell themselves. What I mean by selling yourselves is actually you are like when you are doing a job interview, when you're applying for a job, you're selling yourself. You are selling your skills, you are selling your capabilities, you are selling your capacities, sorry. And that actually the way to get a job. So it's really important to know how to sell yourself. It's really important to um, build the how can I say, the best and the most efficient communication skills to build your to sell yourself and to brand yourself. Because as I said, you and your competition, they have the same professional experience, but then it's a matter of how to sell yourself. Do you really know how to sell yourself? When they call you for that interview with with your dream company, are you going to be willing to sell yourself? And selling yourself, it's a matter of communication. Are you good at communicating your ideas, your problem solving skills? Are you good at communicating what are your objectives or your long-term career goals, your short-term career goals, etc., etc.? So it's really, really important. The third point that I really wanted to talk about it is you have to understand what are your skills gap. Are your skills gap professional skills gaps? Are your skills gap language skills gap, which is really important? Are your skills gap educational skills gap? If you think that education is something that will hold you back, you can try and get, scholarship abroad, to study abroad. You can get like an extra master degree in Tunisia. You can get like a extra master degree. If you think that your limitation are language limitation, in Tunisia we have the luck, or we have the privilege, let me say, that we speak multiple languages. This is an asset when it comes to international work and international workforce. This is one of the biggest assets, and ask me, because it's one of the assets that I used to land a job abroad. And you have, it's not, I'm sorry to say this, it is not sufficient to speak the language. You need to master the language. You need to master the communication with the language. Either English, French is crucial as well. English is the number one, but French is also crucial because French gives you exposure to the African country. And French, it's not spoken when it comes to countries in like North America and like, and also countries beside France in Europe. So for them and for the company that's going to recruit you, especially if it's a company that operates globally, it's one of the biggest assets when you speak French. Arabic also is a tremendous addition, let alone if you improve another language like French or German. So this is like something really important to bear in mind. So you have to understand and to know and to be honest with yourself on what are your skills gap. I know that a lot of people that they're not honest with themselves. They say, okay, I'm good at this, I'm great at that, but that's not true. You have to assess yourself to see what are your skills gaps and improve them. You have to fill those gaps. This is really important. Next thing, which is talking about what are your best or biggest allies, which are the time and network. Now, let me start with network. Network, it's really important. A network, it's really easy to do, but not everyone has the skills of networking. People need to understand, especially when it comes to our professional experience, you have to keep and maintain every single, you have to keep and maintain a professional relationship like long term with every single person that we work with. It doesn't matter what's their ranking. That's why I always push people to learn what we call emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, it's knowing how to deal with people, no matter what they are feeling, how they are behaving, what's their personal attitude, what's their personality, what's their character. You have to learn how to deal with people. And here is exactly why. Because you have to try and not lose these professional relationship, because you never know when you will going to need them. I know that sometimes it's tough. I know that sometimes the emotions run high when it comes in the work environment and in our jobs, but it's really important to be as professional as possible. But emotional intelligence, mastering these skills, it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of patience, but it's for me, it's the number one skill that makes a huge difference, right? It's knowing how to control your emotions, regardless what's others' emotion, what's your counterpart emotions. This is really important. How this helps in twerking, because that actually it's like a personal attitude that impresses people and that attracts people, because eventually you will people, they will look at you as like in a professional way, and they will respect you for that. So for me, if this is a key skills and a key attribute in your professional environment, trust me, everyone will be there whenever you need them in the future, even if you are not working with them. And how is exactly how you can build a network. There are two ways how you can build a network. The number one is LinkedIn. Well, no, the number two is LinkedIn. I'll talk about the number one. The number two is LinkedIn. LinkedIn, just follow the right people, right? You do not text people direct messages. It's something that becoming frequent, and people, they don't like it. I personally don't like it. Other people, I'm 100% sure they like it. Unless, for instance, I advertise the position and people that are asking for a position, it's fine. But if I'm not doing anything and you just text me out of nowhere, I don't like that. But you can follow people on LinkedIn, people that can add value to your long-term career goals of like going onto global workforce, and follow what's their posts, right? When you follow their posts, try to be generous when it comes to comments, when it comes to likes, when it comes to admiration, because people remember names and people remembers who praises them. Remember this, guys. People remember who praises them all the time and who follow them all the time. And once your name is remembered, when you see that there is a counter interaction, that's probably when you can start texting direct message, but also texting direct message should not come out of nowhere. This is one of strategy that you can follow on LinkedIn, right? So if there is like after long term, after this, like admiration, interaction, this, let me say, professional flirting, later on, when you see that there is really interesting post that you have a lot of knowledge on, remember an interesting point that you have a lot of knowledge on, because that's when you're going to take the first step, and that's when you are going to leave a first impression. Share that post with them on a private message and give your thoughts. And that's when the interaction starts. Keep it short from the beginning, at the beginning. And then you will see like, a long term, you will guys build like really nice professional relationship together. And that's how you can start building network. This is one of the strategies that I follow, and it has been successful with me so far. And the first way how to build network is choosing the right company or the right organization that straight after university you are going to integrate. Try your best to choose a company where there is a diversity in nationalities, because this is how. Because those who are not Tunisian, those who comes from other countries, there is a lot of turnover. So they come here, they spend a little bit of time, and then they leave. When they leave, they work at international level in European countries and American countries, and these people, when you build a professional relationship with them and you maintain a good relationship with them, they become an asset. They become like your network in the future. After 2, 3, 4 years, you might be interested in applying in a job where they work, and they can help you with that. So this is really important. As I said, when you graduate, try to target, and it's fine. I mean, if you don't find that you can work in Tunisian company, I'm not saying that a company with only Tunisian work on it, they're bad. Absolutely not. We have one of the most skillful people that I've never met. They are Tunisian. You can work 1 or 2 years in a Tunisian company, and then another company or another organization, it can be also Tunisian with international diversity or with a nationality diversity, you apply for it and they recruit you. And then when you start building your networking strategy, and that's when you put like a networking strategy. Networking, it's all about strategy. Remember, guys, hopefully soon we will have another training about networking. Yeah, that's why I'm saying your initial professional experience matter. It's really matter. It does really matter if you have like, again, I know that in Tunisia, the nonprofit is armed to the teeth when it comes to nationality diversities, right? And cultural diversity. Sorry, guys. Okay, timing is important as well. And when I talk about timing, guys, we have to be honest with ourselves, right? I know that we all are eager. We all want so bad to go abroad. Sometimes, like even people who are so. I mean, I talked to my cousin who's studying in high school, and all what he's talking about is going abroad, right? I know that in Tunisia now, basically 99.9% of people, they want to go abroad and they want to study abroad and they want to work abroad. Timing, it's really important. If you are not ready, don't do it. If you're not ready, don't ruin your professional career. And here is exactly what I mean. Sometimes people, they have a specific professional expertise in a specific area, right? Or in specific industry. But they get an opportunity in a completely different industry, and which is like a completely downgrade of their position. if you're not ready for it. Not because you got this opportunity to go abroad, you take it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Again, that's when I'm talking about research market. Researching the market, it's really, really important. However, it's true that timing is important and making that decision is really important, right? But sometimes you can take that opportunity if you know that that opportunity, even though it's downgrade, even though like you used to be a manager and you became an officer, you know, afterward, you will get an interesting opportunity with the organization or the company where you are going to where you're going to work. I have a friend of mine, close friend of mine, who used to be a manager in the supply chain, and she got a fellowship with one of the biggest organizations. And it was a fellowship. A fellowship, I mean, fellowship, it's nice, it's interesting, it's program, it's training program, it helps, right? But being a manager in a supply chain and then getting a fellowship, it's a little bit of downgrade, let's be honest. But then she did her market research right, and basically she did the fellowship with them, and now she got a really, really interesting job with them. It's a really, really interesting job with them. That's why doing market research is really important. So timing is important. Not all opportunities should be seized. You only seize the opportunity that you know something will come up, will come out from it. So this is really important, guys. Okay, last slide. Wow, it went so fast. Last slide is the skill sets that you need. It's pretty basics, but they are tough to develop. It's really important. There are the skills that takes you to the global. There are the skills that keeps you at the global, you know. There is a famous saying that goes like this: we attract people by the quality we display. We keep them by the quality we possess. It's the same when it comes to global opportunities. We attract those global opportunities by the skills that we have. We maintain those opportunities by the skills we possess. It doesn't mean that all the skills that we display are actually the skills that we have. No, we can sit for an interview and I can keep talking to you on and on and on and on how I work under pressure and how I'm organized. But this is not the fact. I am not good at working under pressure and I am not organized. So it's really important, again, to be honest, what are your skills? If you do not have those skills, you have to build them as soon as possible. And these key skills, there are three, which is the most important thing that international market need. And it's not technical. Technical skills, the international market, they do not need it that much. If you have an expertise in IT or mechanical engineer, or electric engineer, that's great, that helps. But there are key other skills that you need to have them, which is skill number one is communication. You have to know how to communicate. You have to know how to listen. You have to know and master the e-communication and the verbal communication. It's really important. And you have to master how to clearly communicate your idea. This is really, really important. Short sentence, straight to the point, clear idea, which is something that probably 80% of the people around the world, they are good at it. They're not good at it. I've met a lot of leaders that they're good at putting together words, but it takes them a long time to finish a sentence, to share an idea that can be like in 3-4 vocabs or 3-4 words. So it's really important. Communication, based on my experience, when you communicate clearly, with clear ideas, with clear goals, it makes a huge difference, which is skills that not everyone has. Problem solving. I am so passionate about problem solving. You know why? Because everything that we are doing, we are solving problems. Every single thing in our personal and professional life is that we're trying to solve problems. When you get into a job from 9 to 5, you're trying to solve problems. You have to have a strategy on how to solve problems. People think that that's all what I do is solving problems. But you're solving problems, but do you really have a specific strategy? Do you have like a fingerprint on how to solve problems? Do you have like, tools that you use to solve problems, right? Because they are really fascinated about tools. When it comes to international market, people, they want to see tools, right? If you have a boss, and trust me, that is, I don't know, like a CEO, CFO, or COO, and you tell them, oh, I have this problem, but I'm confident that I'm going to fix that problem. That's not enough. People need to see data. How are you going to solve that problem? So that's when it comes, what are the tools that you use when you solve the problems? So when I say problem solving, I know that all of you guys are good, are smart, are intelligent. You can solve the problems, right? But what's your strategy in solving the problem? What are your tools? Do you have a contingency plan? Do you have a due diligence plans? This is really important to know. So build those tools, build a specific strategy, build like a personal technique on solving the problem. And that would be like your own identity, and that would help a lot. Creativity and innovation, as I mentioned previously, things are changing so fast in every industry that you know, in every single industry. So being creative and being innovative, there are two attitude and attribute that the international market needs. And the combination of these three skills, which is communication, problem solving, creativity, and innovation, we rarely find it in someone. Doesn't matter if they are graduated in prestigious university or not a prestigious university, it's really something rare, a combination that is so rare. Sometimes you find something who's creative and innovative, but not a good communicator. Sometimes you find someone who is good at problem solving, but they do not know how to communicate that solution. Sometimes you meet someone who is a great innovator, but when there is a problem with that innovation, they do not know how to solve it. So these are the key skills that you have to build and try to work, like have your own, like have a personal identity, or a personal strategy or technique when it comes to these skills. Try to read as many books as possible. Try to attend as many workshops as possible. Try to watch as many YouTube videos as possible. There is hundreds, if not millions, of content that are free that will help you to know and understand what we mean by communication, problem solving, creative, and innovation. When you dig deeper into these skills, later it will become probably automatic to set up your own techniques on these skills. Now, once you use those skills and you got into international market, three other skills that you have to be able to master. Skill number one, intercultural communication, intercultural behavior. It's really important to take the cultural difference and cultural sensitivities into consideration, because when you get an opportunity abroad, when you integrate the global workforce, you are going to be working with people from all around the world. Their traditions and their way of communication, their habit is completely different from your habit. So you have to take that into consideration. Intercultural communication is key. I cannot tell you how you can build. I know it's built through experience. Again, you can also read books. That's really great, but take that into consideration. Keep your communication as simple as possible. Do not cross lines. Do not try to like maybe show off, go the extra miles. No, until you know what kind of person you are dealing with. So this is really important when you are working in an international setting. Confidence. People are big fan of confidence. People, when they see that you are confident, they trust you, they respect you, they promote you, they do everything. So when you get into the global opportunity, global level, never underestimate your potential. Be confident as much as possible, even though you make mistakes, even though you feel that other people, they're more professional, they have better expertise, but trust your guts, trust your skills as well, and be as confident as possible. This is really important. And last but not least, ability to manage. The ability to manage, and here I'm talking about managing yourself, managing your workload, but also, if possible, managing other people. Managing yourself, your time, your workload, that is something that people love. People love to meet deadlines. It's really something that is common here, at least for the US, but also it's really something that not everyone managed to do, but also it's something that people are held accountable for it. So it's really important to manage yourself, manage your work, manage your time, and then, if it's possible, to showcase or to display your ability to manage other people. But your ability to manage people, it's not the easiest, because management, it's a thin line that, if you cross and if you walk, you might fall in the trap of offending people. So it's not really easy. How to build the management skills: observe other managers, how they are dealing, and observe other manager, how their employee react to their management styles. And that's when you build your skills. For example, if you are working in a specific setting, and you know a friend of yours who's managed by another person, that friend of yours is complaining all the time about the manager because the manager is doing this, that, you can build a little bit of, not idea, but, how can I say? It's basically, you can start having an idea what are the things that manager can do, what are the things that manager cannot do. Doesn't mean that your friend is always right? Your friends probably has their own, like, weaknesses, right? Or room for improvement. But at least you can have like an idea about what the manager did wrong, probably something that you learn as a manager you should not do. Maybe if you're a manager and doing things that you do not like and you feel that they making no sense, learn not to do it when you become a manager yourself. So the easiest way to build your management skills is to observe other managers, how they behave, and try to learn from them. Learn the good, learn the bad, and also learn the ugly, and try to filter so you can become the best manager as possible. Also, read a book. Again, I'm repeating, reading book is really, really important. Studying success stories of managers, of CEOs, that really, really help them. So these are the skills to keep you at a global level, and also get your promotions to get to, to probably the places where you never dreamt of, at a global workforce level. I think that's it for today presentation. I know that this is hopefully is going to be shared on YouTube. If you are watching and if you watched till the end, hopefully this helped. You can simply support me and follow me on LinkedIn, Malik Khnisi. And if you have any questions, please send me messages. You can send me on LinkedIn and ask me messages. And I'm happy to help. I'm here to serve. I have some experience that I'm trying to share with the in collaboration with the Open Minds community. Hope to see you next time. If you have any ideas about topics that we can address, please don't hesitate to send me a message. And hopefully we can meet next time. Bye-bye.